Right, all right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, another episode of the Dead Ball Specialists is live. I am Sammy. Generally, I join from Mumbai, but today I'm joining from the city of joy, Kolkata. I mean, there is joy and sadness in that. I'll come to that. But joining from his regular den in Delhi is my dear friend Saurav Ganguly. And Saurav, फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट वेलकम टू द पॉडकास्ट. अभी तेरा भी आधा है बट मैं फिर भी वेलकम कर लेता हूँ तुझे कभी कभी.
थैंक्स मैन, थैंक्स. आई वांटेड टू स्टार्ट ऑफ सैमी. कुछ कहना चाहता था मैं.
बोलो भाई.
वो है ना. अब
बोलो.
अर्ज करते हैं. अर्ज किया है, खुद ही को करके बुलंद इतना चढ़ा वो जैसे तैसे.
ओके.
खुद ही को करके बुलंद इतना चढ़ा वो जैसे तैसे.
सॉरी. वाह वाह वाह
खुदा
वाह.
ने बंदे से खुद पूछा, अबे तू उतरेगा कैसे.
वाओ ब्यूटीफुल.
अब मैं इसको किस रिलेशन में बोल रहा हूँ, मैं आपको छोटी सी थोड़ा झांकी देना चाहता हूँ. लिटिल प्रीव्यू इनटू व्हाई आई सेड दिस.
ओके.
इट्स बिकॉज देखिए, अब खुदा को तो पता नहीं वो उतरा नहीं उतरा, बंदे को भी नहीं पता. बट समवन whom we know who's actually come down from his post is Mr. Jurgen Klopp. This is the big sensational news that has been happening is Jurgen Klopp alongside his coaching staff has resigned from their position effective the end of this season from Liverpool. And this is what me and Sammy, we thought about we should be bringing forth at our TDBS podcast episode. So what are your thoughts, Sammy? Initial thoughts that you're just coming to your mind right now?
I think first and foremost, I'd like to start by letting everybody know once again that Liverpool is Saurav's favorite club, even before Manchester United. You should go back and watch some of our episodes to see his love towards that club, right? Yes, I mean it not in a straight manner. But the fact of the matter is that I think about time, Saurav, about time, not saying this as a Man United fan, but saying this as somebody who has been following football from a very long time. I think nowadays the life cycle of coaches has also come down. You will rarely find a Sir Alex Ferguson kind of a situation where 20 plus years with the same club. It's also because it's evolving so quickly. I think what Jurgen Klopp has done for Liverpool, it's for everyone to see, whether we like it, whether we don't like it. I mean, not as Liverpool fans, but the fact of the matter is that guy has achieved everything that was there to be achieved, right? Of course, there have been downsides to his regime as well, but I think this is the right time for him to move out. I always quote this very famous line from Batman, The Dark Knight. It says, "You either live too long, you either die a hero, or you live too long to become the villain." I think it's very important for anyone and everyone, and especially for somebody like Jurgen Klopp, who's got that stature. Every club that he's gone to, he's literally transformed that club. I think अगर एक दो सीजन और रुकता ना, तो आई थिंक वो विलन बनने वाला सिचुएशन होने का चांस था. But yeah, he's definitely dying a hero as a Liverpool hero for sure. But I also think that he's tired. You can see it in his face. You can see it in his mannerisms.
It shows.
It is tiring, dude. I mean, हम लोग
Sammy,
ये
just to
नौकरी
bring
नहीं.
it into perspective, just to bring it into perspective, what I have right now is I have my screen. If you are able to see my screen right now, I have the SofaScore app available. The SofaScore app, if I look for Jurgen Klopp, the number of games he's played for Liverpool, it's a staggering 468 games they've played under the tutelage of Jurgen Klopp. They won 291.
Right.
They've lost 81. They've drawn 96 games. Very impressive points per match of 2.07 out of 3. And he's been employed since 2015. He's finally won them the, you could say, the Premier League. They won the Champions Trophy under him.
Yeah.
They managed to, I think they won the Club World Cup too. And this season, if history permits, they might just be able to not only win the Premier League, because they are on top of the table right now after 24 games.
Right.
They're also right in the thick of the Europa League too. I think they're still in the FA Cup as well. So there's lots to play for. I think he's announced it at a point of time which I think will just galvanize the whole squad to go ahead and just win the trophies on on his farewell tour. So
Absolutely. Sort of the timing has been very right, I think, from Jurgen Klopp. He knows that he's not going to continue after this season. You know, I always say this, there are two types of people in this world.
mm,
One
mm,
is the MS Dhonis who will just finish everything and then they'll say that, hey, I'm done. Thank you very much. And
mm,
not take like a
mm,
farewell or anything like that and move out. Right.
mm,
But for
mm.
somebody like a Jurgen Klopp who is pivotal in kind of, you know, inspiring his players, his support staff and everyone around him for a season which is going to be very hectic for all of them. I think he's done it. The timing has been absolutely correct, according to me. But yes, from the dead ball specialist, Sammy and Saurav, and I'm doing this because I know Saurav's not going to do this. I'm taking the liberty of speaking on behalf of him, and we want to wish Jurgen Klopp all the best in whatever he does next, and
Yeah.
hopefully he won't be around in the Premier League, because that's what he said. He's not going to coach a Premier
Manage
League
any
team.
more teams
Yeah, yeah,
apart
yeah,
from Liverpool. Yes,
yeah, yeah.
Sammy, I also managed to garner the social media reactions of which have been done by the managers. So if you
Hmm,
see my screen, I got it on my X handle. I've bookmarked them so that it's easier for us to at least notice and go through the reactions that we actually saw. So
sure.
one of the first ones that's coming out right now is that of Mauricio Pochettino. He felt he quotes by saying, "I was in shock, really sad. When I was sacked from Tottenham, the first message was from Jurgen Klopp." This is what Mauricio Pochettino, the current Chelsea manager's reaction is when uh, Jurgen Klopp had announced his departure from Liverpool.
Right, right. But
Next
Saurav,
up is that of
sorry,
yeah.
before you get into the next one, what is he
Mm-hmm.
shocked about? Why is he shocked? He should be happy. You know,
Dude, you
he's
can't just go out and say all of these things, huh? But I'm guessing there must be some sort of कुछ bond तो होता ही होगा
अरे
यार, as
होता
much as
होगा,
you might
बट
be.
इसकी तो मतलब इसने तो बचा लिया ना इसको, एक मतलब अगले सीजन
हाँ,
में ही
देख
हैज
उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता, चेल्सी को सही खेलना पड़ेगा, दैट इज ए कम्प्लीटली डिफरेंट बॉल गेम ऑल टुगेदर।
वो
अब
मुझे लगता
चलो।
है सौरभ, वो ना एक दूसरा एपिसोड ही है। आई थिंक वो आधे घंटे का
हाँ, दैट्स अ
एपिसोड है।
डिफरेंट गेम।
हाँ, दैट्स
Seriously, bro, that is something that we need to totally cover separately.
आई एग्री। और
But
कौन
going
क्या
back
कह रहा है
again
यार,
now,
बता। हाँ,
yes, Pep Guardiola on Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool exit. He says, "Personally, I will miss him. I don't think. I don't think. I think Pep's a big liar. He's a maybe not Guardiola. You
first and
should call
foremost,
him
I don't think
Guardiola."
that tweet was composed and tweeted out by Pep himself. I think it was his PR team, to be very honest with you, because I genuinely don't think that he's going to miss him at all. ये सब कहने की बातें
At
हैं।
all.
हाँ, हाँ।
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like Eric
Exactly.
Ten Hag saying that Pep Guardiola's left Man City and he's sad about it. ठीक है?
Yeah.
तो
Even Eric Ten Hag had come out and he said something about Jurgen Klopp. He said that,
हम्म,
Jurgen Klopp, he wishes him the very best for his future. Jurgen Klopp, whatever Jurgen Klopp's done, whatever we aired today on our show, in terms of, from a very neutral perspective, what Jurgen Klopp has been able to bring to the table for Liverpool is something a lot of managers couldn't manage to do it. He won them the first Premier League title in 30 years, in 30
हम्म,
odd years. So that's a big, big achievement. And my first reaction was I was very glad. But then when the census came back, I realized, it's a very tough job. It's very demanding. As much as it is entertaining for you and me to watch it from the other side, to for a manager, it's so much scrutiny, and that too at clubs like Liverpool and just like a club at Liverpool. So I
भाई
completely
मेरे
understand it.
दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है पता है तुझे, बताऊं? हाँ, मतलब
Mm-hmm.
मैं यूनाइटेड फैन हूँ। हाँ, आई नो
Mm,
यूनाइटेड फैंस हु आर गोना वॉच दिस आर गोना हेट ऑन मी फॉर श्योर, बट माय
yeah.
पॉइंट इन दिस इज दैट ये एरिक टेन हाग ने जो एक्स पे डाला है अबाउट जर्गन
Mm.
क्लॉप, डिड ही पुट इट लाइक 7 times?
Did he put no man? Shut up, bro. No, he's not done that. It was during the pre-match conference for the game
Okay,
against West Ham.
of
I think
course,
it was
of
West
course.
Ham or someone else. Yeah.
I thought he'd put it 7 times because of the very famous score line,
The
if you remember.
inglorious. Oh yes. Who can forget that
moving
extinct
on, guys. We're not
era?
going to talk about this. We're not going to talk about this.
Yeah,
Moving
yeah,
on. हाँ,
yeah,
अपने
yeah.
एजेंडा पे अगला
Uh,
क्या है भाई, बताओ?
the agenda next is Sami at TDBS. If you remember, we did a fan poll
Hmm.
on whether Manchester United should be moving into a new stadium by discarding the old one. And a
Hmm.
staggering 80% of the fan poll were in favor of Manchester United to move into a new stadium. Now, this comes after there have been initial talks by Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the INEOS group of deciding or thinking about of actually having a new stadium instead of rebuilding and sort of refurbishing the current Old Trafford stadium.
Hmm.
uh, for this, we at TDBS, we decided to just quell a few myths about the Manchester United Old Trafford Stadium. There are a lot of questions, Sammy, that I have tried compiling,
Okay.
and as a matter of fact, today is what, 13th of February, right? So
Yeah.
our the Old Trafford Stadium is exactly around 114 years old. It was
Okay.
built in the 19th of Feb back in 1910. So it's just about 4 5 days from being
After, yeah,
exactly
after Valentine's Day,
114 years
somebody
old.
fell in love and started building a stadium.
Oh my god! Wow! Yeah. So the
Yeah.
thing is, this is this. So couple of questions, Sammy, I quickly wanted to have
Hmm.
to feature in this episode today is I wanted to answer a few key questions ahead of whether at all this is going to happen, how it is going to happen. The Guardian have done a brilliant job of actually compiling this. Now, if you remember, Sammy, there was an article where in which Sir Jim Ratcliffe was quoted saying that he wants to build a new Wembley of the North, in his
Hmm.
words.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
and
Hmm.
and when I came across this, there were a few questions that I thought that will just make sense. So one of the first one is, in your opinion, do you think, isn't Old Trafford good enough as it is? So do you think that we should be having a new stadium, or do you think the present stadium will suffice for the time being?
The first thing I want to do is, before all of this hits the fan, I think you and I should go down to Old Trafford and watch a game, man. I mean,
Hmm.
जिंदगी में ये बहुत ही मतलब कट जाएगा हम लोगों का. हम बच्चों को क्या मुंह
हाँ,
दिखाएंगे भाई? हाँ, ए
क्या ही
मेरा
मुंह
बाप
दिखाएंगे
यूनाइटेड का फैन है, कभी कभी
भाई।
गया नहीं है वैसे. हाँ, और नया
उन्हें
स्टेडियम
मुँह
भी
नहीं
बन गया.
दिखाएँगे, हमें अपना उन्हें मुँह सबसे पहले तो देखो, मुँह दिखाना-विखाना दूर की बात है, सबसे पहले उनको
हाँ,
सब्सक्राइबर बना लेंगे,
हाँ,
ठीक है?
एक्चुअली हाँ, 2
तो
सब्सक्राइबर्स पे
हाँ,
बढ़ना
देन
है
सेंड देम
शायद.
नोटिफिकेशंस ओवर।
No, but Saurav, I think about time also. What we've seen is that
Yeah,
the clubs which
yeah,
have done well in recent times, they've also had those kind of facilities, right? One of the things,
correct.
if you remember, and I kind of always go back to it, is when Ronaldo left in that explosive interview. One of the things he
With
mentioned
Piers
is that,
Morgan.
correct. He mentioned that the club is
Yes,
still where I left it. There's been hardly any sort of growth in terms of the facilities available to the players in the club. And it's not just the players. You also have to understand, a good part, a chunk of the money is coming from the supporters now.
correct.
ओल्ड ट्रैफर्ड, हाँ ठीक है, आइकॉनिक स्टेडियम, ये वो फलाना ढिमका ढकोसला, सब कुछ सही है. बट अगर मैं एक्सपीरियंस की बात करूं, somebody going to watch a game at, let's say, the Wembley stadium or the Tottenham stadium, and then coming to a Manchester United Old Trafford, paying probably a little more than what they paid at those stadiums and not getting even half the facilities, I think it's unfair, bro. I think it's really unfair to somebody who's paying their hard-earned money, right? So in that case, I feel that, क्योंकि refurbish में ना क्या होता है कि ये लोग refurbish करेंगे भी तो कैसे करेंगे बता. इसको तोड़
Yeah,
मोड़ के वो नया ही बनाएंगे और फिर उसी को मतलब
yeah,
my only request to the INEOS group is that maybe just still call it Old Trafford, just for old time's sake.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
I mean,
yes, yes,
don't make
yes.
it into a INEOS stadium or a Amex stadium. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
have
Yeah,
a
I
problem with
wouldn't
that.
want that too.
I have
I
a
wouldn't
problem
want
with
that
that.
too,
You can't call a
Yeah.
stadium an Amazon stadium.
It's
Or
like it's like what Barcelona did, and which is not something that I completely approve of. The Spotify Nou Camp, that's not something that I would want to see in front
But
of
sort
our
of at some
stadium
level,
scene.
I'll tell you what, at some level, no, I still agree with that. I still agree with that,
हम्म,
because
हम्म,
Camp Nou is still there in the
लिखा
name.
हुआ है,
हाँ हाँ,
हाँ.
मतलब वो हेरिटेज
Yeah,
कहीं पे तो आप लेके आ रहे हो.
कहीं
अब
पे
अगर
ले
मैंने,
आए हो, हाँ.
हाँ हाँ, आप टोटली उसको चेंज करके जैसे एमेक्स स्टेडियम, अमेजोन स्टेडियम बना दोगे ना, फिर AT&T स्टेडियम,
हम्म,
उसमें मुझे थोड़ा सा प्रॉब्लम है. नाम अगर
हाँ,
रख
वो
सकते हो
इशू
भाई
है,
लोग,
वो इशू
हाँ
है,
हाँ,
वो
वो थोड़ा
इशू है.
अच्छा लगेगा. अगला सवाल.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, next question, Sammy, I wanted to get at is, I did a little bit of research, and then the question that came right on top of my mind was, how would this work? The whole idea of having a new facility, right? a new facility. He says, Sir Jim Ratcliffe said that he wanted to have a stadium that could house about more than 90,000, more than 95,000. Say
Hmm.
about close to a million, close to 100,000 people, right?
Right.
Now that
Right.
can cost easily upwards of 2.5 to 3 billion
Hmm.
pounds. Now,
Hmm.
alongside this new glittering new stadium, there's gonna be a lot of other club, facilities as well. Something like boutiques, restaurants, eateries, cinema, club museum, and other attractions. Now,
Right.
think about the 2 billion Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, okay? But even grander when it comes to the bragging rights, simply because we won so many of the Premier League titles, we won so many of the Champions League titles. So,
Hmm.
in terms of the financing, there beach mein there was a talks of, since it's a private investment equity,
Hmm.
will there be some involvement of government personnel coming in terms of trying to help them in terms of rebuilding? That is not something that I foresee that's going to happen. But do you think, because there have been individual contractors who were brought forth
Hmm.
to discuss whether refurbishing the current stadium at a relatively cheaper price compared to a new stadium, or having a completely new stadium which will easily take you at least about 6 to 8 years to build a new one?
Hmm.
Which one do you think you are personally vouching for? Do you want to go for a new stadium, or would you go with the same one? Because
I mean, emotionally, if you ask me emotionally, I would always go for the old stadium, right? Also because of the fact that we haven't been there, sort of. We अपन को और
yeah.
2 साल लग गए तो फिर उधर पे प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा, ठीक है? तो
नहीं
from
रहेगा. Okay, so that's another myth, Sammy, I
हाँ
wanted to
हाँ
bust.
हाँ
This stadium, if Manchester United decide to go ahead with a new stadium, it has to be somewhere else.
हाँ,
Else, what they can, the other option is that they completely erase the old stadium and build the new stadium on the same grounds,
why not? I think
right?
that's a great idea.
That's a great idea. Now, the thing is, apart from this, the third option that does exist
Hmm.
is the fact that between those years where the new stadium is actually coming up, Manchester United have two options. One, they could do something similar to what they did between 1941 and 49. So, historically speaking, to a lot of our viewers today, between 1941 and 1949, when the Second World War was happening, Old Trafford, as the stadium was decrepit because of incessant German bombing. So
Hmm.
Manchester United was actually playing at the main road. That was the stadium that was shared with Manchester City.
Right.
Something that you get to see today. What the Milan clubs do, right? The San Siro Stadium is actually played is the home stadium to both AC Milan and Inter Milan.
Correct.
Now, in case Manchester City go ahead and say no, okay, we want to have our Etihad Stadium as exclusively as the sole property of Manchester City and not a shared stadium for the time
Which,
being.
knowing those
Man,
fuckers, they probably will end up doing.
they probably would, right? They must be a little salty about the fact that we've already just taken Omar Berada off them. So I think 95% chance at TDBS, we both feel, Sammy and Saurav, that ये नहीं होने वाला है.
भाई
अगर
हम
ये
ना
नहीं
उनका
हुआ,
मार रहे हैं, एक्चुअली देखा जाए फील्ड पे नहीं मार पा रहे, बट ना
बहुत अच्छा,
मतलब लेफ्ट राइट
बहुत
सेंटर
अच्छा.
एक तो
देखो,
उनके
अभी
लोगों को
एक
हम
मैच
उठा
तो
रहे हैं,
गेम
अभी
है.
स्टेडियम भी
देखते हैं
चाहिए.
हम क्या करते हैं वहां पे.
अरे हम
अभी
जीत
गेम
जाएंगे.
बाकी है.
रैशवर्ड क्या
अच्छा.
करेगा? रैशवर्ड वो
अच्छा.
व्हाट वाज द लास्ट टाइम आई सेड रैशवर्ड हैट्रिक मारेगा. But no, we are in good form,
Anyway, so
guys.
that,
We
yeah, we are in
are
good form. That will come at the end of the end of this episode. But
episode.
second option, Sammy,
Hmm, hmm,
seriously, second option.
hmm.
Second option is that Manchester United could possibly play at Wembley itself, like how what Spurs did for those couple of seasons in which they were playing at Wembley. So that might just be a temporary home stadium.
आई
So
थिंक दैट्स द
these are
बेस्ट.
the two options.
वही करना चाहिए. पता है ये हम क्यों जा रहे हैं मैनचेस्टर सिटी का स्टेडियम मांगने? यार दिमाग खराब है हमारा. बिल्कुल भी नहीं.
सही में यार.
बोलो हाँ, अपना उधर पे वेम्बली में जाके खेलो होम गेम्स, ठीक
हम्म.
है?
हम्म.
इधर पे
हम्म.
और इनके मतलब बम्बू कर दो थोड़ा कि भाई 3 साल में मेरे को स्टेडियम चाहिए, कुछ भी करके.
हम्म.
And we
हम्म.
need it, bro. We need it. I'm telling you, this friend of mine recently went to the Spotify Camp Nou. Okay,
हम्म.
he didn't watch a game. He went just for the stadium tour. He came back
Hmm.
mesmerized. It's like, dude, they have these immersive zones where
Hmm.
there's AI, there's VR, there's God knows what all. Amazing restaurants.
Okay.
Yeah, it is expensive, but then he said, "Ki I didn't mind paying once because I was going for the experience." हमारे ओल्ड ट्रैफर्ड में साला
Correct.
छत से पानी गिरता है रे, तो
अरे हाँ, यही तो प्रॉब्लम है, यही तो
नहीं
इशू है.
नहीं हो
And
पाएगा.
and Sami, final question that I
Yeah.
was is how likely is the building of a new stadium there? So I'm quoting directly from the Guardian. It says
Hmm.
call it a 60-40 favor.
Hmm.
Ratcliffe's arrival nudges up the likelihood because he has demonstrated he means business, embodied by the hiring of Omar Berrada from Manchester City to be the new CEO. But there should be caution because even with 300 million he's injecting into the club, that raises Ratcliffe's holding to 28%. The
Hmm.
six Glazer siblings remain majority owners, and their track record regarding Old Trafford is unimpressive, for sure. When
Hmm.
Ratcliffe's deal was announced on Christmas Eve, it would say that he would provide an additional 300 million intended to enable future investment into Old Trafford. But it could be used for the other purposes too. So, matlab, the thing is, our new owners they are favoring building a new stadium, but then again, we're not talking about selling a player or buying a new one. This is about investing into a new stadium that can cost anywhere between 2.5 to 3 billion pounds. So
Right.
that is something, this decision making, I believe, will be taken maybe a couple of seasons down the line. I do not see it happening,
नहीं होगा अभी, अभी
Abhi.
impossible
Yeah,
है. I
yeah,
would much rather
yeah,
have these guys build a stellar team, to be very honest with you.
yeah.
Saurabh, हाँ
Presently,
मतलब
yes, we need to do
हाँ
that.
थोड़ा भाई team play, because the team is touchwood. Last couple of games they've been playing well, okay, and I
Yeah,
think about
yeah.
time that we really backed Eric Ten Hag, not just on X, कि
Hmm.
I'm with the manager, but also really give him the resources, give him the players
Hmm.
he wants. Some of his players have flopped, I
Hmm.
agree. जैसे I don't
Hmm.
know your take on Anthony, but मुझे थोड़ा overhyped लगता है बंदा, और अपने आप को थोड़ा
Yeah.
हीरो समझता है.
Okay, so if you ask me how I feel about whether at all Eric Ten Hag has been able to build a better team or a good team,
Hmm.
uh, yes, I agree. A couple of his signings haven't really worked out. Anthony, but also Sammy, the fact is the whole Anthony transfer was a little botched in terms of
Yeah.
how our end of the deal. I mean, we approached in a different way, right? Initial understanding of Anthony's purchase was pitched somewhere between 30 to 40 million, and
We paid
eventually we
100.
ended up paying about 90 million or something. That's
हाँ.
मुझे नहीं पता यार. I think maybe I still have hope about Anthony. I think there is some bit of a player in him that needs to shine through.
Bro,
Personally, I
everything
think
said and
his
done,
personal
he's
life
not a
has been.
90 million player.
He's not a 90 million player for sure. He's not a 90
And that
million
is
player,
actually
but
after that Anthony transfer, no, I was very tempted to
mm,
apply for jobs at Manchester United, very honestly. Because
yeah.
मुझे पता था कि यहाँ पे अगर मेरे को कोई लाख रुपया सैलरी दे रहा है, उधर पे तो मैं 7-8 लाख रुपए ऐसे उठा लूंगा, क्योंकि मैं
Ah.
I'll play the Anthony card. Oh, so guys, you know what? Saurav, every day he tries to make this podcast a little more informative, a little more serious, and then he has to deal with me. I feel bad about him because there are topics which he really wants to talk about passionately and with data, and then I come into the picture and then I dhajia uda of them.
नहीं, but
But
that's true ना. I mean, ये तो देख, see, you put it across in a way which no one can deny. Anthony, 90 million for a player
hmm.
who scored once in the entire season. This time around, scored once against a Division 4 side, mind
But
you.
bro, I think he scored on his debut. That you
He
can't take
scored
away
against
from
on
him.
his debut against Arsenal. Yeah, that he did. But that
Last
was
season.
last season. No, that was last season.
I
But we're
know,
talking about
no, I
Anthony this
know.
season. He's
तो मेरे को भी तो यही करना था ना,
complete
इधर पे
disaster, right?
10x सैलरी लेके जाके पूरे साल में एक प्रोजेक्ट करना था मेरे को एट मैनचेस्टर यूनाइटेड.
एक प्रोजेक्ट में बहुत दिन होते हैं.
भाई
प्रोजेक्ट में एक दिन काम करना चाहिए तुझे.
हाँ एक्चुअली, हाँ फिर निकाल ही देता है एक्चुअली, मुझे
Yeah,
ऐसा लगता है. बट
yeah,
एनीवे, मूविंग
yeah,
ऑन.
yeah.
आई थिंक वी शुड
Moving
गेट टू
on, Sami,
गेम
I
वीक
think
ब्रो.
this is right up your alley. Sin
अच्छा हाँ
bins
बता.
or blue cards in football. I want you to give me a little bit of a lowdown because I feel कुछ ऐसे भी अलग अलग स्पोर्ट्स हैं जहाँ पे ये होता है.
तो सौरभ, एक
Correct?
तो यार मैं
Yeah.
अभी जो होस्ट कर रहा हूँ प्रो कबड्डी, सबको दिखाना चाहता हूँ मैं, ठीक है. आई एम होस्टिंग प्रो कबड्डी में वी हैव सिमिलर रूल्स वेर इन द फर्स्ट वार्निंग इज अ ग्रीन कार्ड. और मैं मजाक उड़ाता हूँ कि जब भी प्लेयर को ग्रीन कार्ड दिया जाता है मैं बोलता हूँ कि यार वो तो अभी यूएस जाके सेटल हो जाएगा, क्योंकि हम ग्रीन कार्ड के लिए भाग रहे हैं, इसको तो यहीं पे मिल गया, ठीक है. बट द नेक्स्ट स्टेप इज एक्चुअली अ येलो कार्ड वेयर द प्लेयर इज सस्पेंडेड फॉर 2 minutes. Alright, so 2 minutes of the game, the player cannot be a part of the game, the live game that is going on, and he has to sit out. There is a suspended chair right outside the mat where he has to sit for 2 minutes, and then only he can go and join the game, right? So I think hockey में भी ऐसा है. In fact, अगर हम देखें तो hockey also has a similar rule wherein a player can be suspended for a short period of time during the game. But in football, I don't know how this is going to work. For example, I have one question. Okay, what if the goalkeeper gets a blue card? Then what do you do?
That's the thing.
You're
That's
saying,
the thing. No one knows, right? We don't know. The thing is, IFAB, the International Football Association. What is it? The International Football Association Board. Okay, so they've come up with. They are thinking of introducing the sin bin in football, in which what you want to do is there will be the introduction of a new blue card that once shown to a player could possibly let that player be sent off as a matter of for 10 minutes, where he has to sit the game out, because if he shows some sort of dissent, or he shows some sort of a of like मुझे ये decision सही नहीं लगा, so there can be something like that.
बेसिकली डिसेंट
Now
दिखाता
there
है
are
या कोई
हाँ
रिएक्शन दिखाता है जो रेफरी को लगता है कि
hmm,
जरूरत से ज्यादा है, जो हर रेफरी को
हाँ.
हर डिसीजन पे ही लगेगा, मतलब सॉरी
Now
हर
I have
रिएक्शन पे
another
लगेगा.
question to this, Sammy. So does this also mean that once if you get a yellow card before and then you get a blue card, will that amount to a red card?
No, so basically your yellow card stands as it is. Okay, this is my understanding. I don't know. I'm just logically जो होना चाहिए, but इन लोगों के पास logic तो है नहीं. But फिर भी सुन ले. तो मान ले तेरे को मैंने yellow card दिया, so your yellow card is the caution that is there, right? Then
Okay.
what happens if I give you a blue card? Your yellow card
Right.
still stands, and the blue card basically ejects you from the game for X amount of time.
For 10 minutes, correct.
For 10 minutes, right? And then you come
ठीक है.
back and you commit a foul for which essentially I can give you another yellow card and send you off.
So you can send me off. So what
Yeah,
if
so
I get a yellow first and then I get a blue? Will that
no,
amount to some
no,
sort
your
of red
yellow
card?
is still there. Your yellow is still there on your record. You get
Okay.
the blue, you're out of the game for 10 minutes. Then you come back and
Mm-hmm.
let's say you get another yellow, then you're sent off. Think
Okay.
of it like that, no? So essentially, sent
Right.
off means you can't come back. Blue means that you're back after 10 minutes. Even if you are on a yellow, your record is gonna have the yellow, but that doesn't change anything. Smart.
Okay, so something I
पता
just
नहीं
found
यहाँ क्या ही
out,
कर रहे हैं.
Sammy.
हाँ बोल.
Sammy, I just found out something. So, a blue card for a goalkeeper will force teams to choose between putting an outfield player in goal or making a permanent substitution under a planned sin bin trials. This could also happen. So the
This
thing
is the
is, right
next
now,
war in the making. Just FYI.
it is. It is. I personally feel that the rules of the games are, as of now, till date, are such that it is still being. It's still even the referees aren't very clear about it. I think the rules should be such that it makes the game a little more simpler. This is just going to mess it up. I do not know how this is going to come, because across social media, a lot of people were asked. In fact, a lot of managers were asked about their reactions to what this could possibly be. I think Angel Postecoglou was asked. It was Carlo Ancelotti was asked. Jurgen Klopp was asked, and none of them, none of them actually have a
Had an
very
answer.
favorable opinion about all of this, because
Obviously,
they
they won't
also
know.
yeah.
Obviously, they won't. If you look at VAR, I mean, yeah,
Hmm.
it's given some great decisions and helped some teams, but overall, the एक ना होता है यार perception, ठीक है ना? even at every workplace, you have a perception. You might be the greatest worker on planet Earth, but the perception that you have in office essentially
Hmm.
determines a lot of things for you, right? And
Hmm.
I feel that with VAR, the perception now has become is it'll fuck up at some level. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
fucked up at major levels. It's
Yes.
not even
Yes.
funny. So
Yes.
that is the thing. Abhi pata nahi abhi aage kya hoga.
Actually, even for VAR, recently Jose
Hmm.
Mourinho was quoted saying that for the AFCON tournament that just concluded, Ivory Coast has just won it. The level of refereeing, the level of application of VAR is something that really impressed him. Now, that is something that we at Premier League that is not been happening, right? So now Premier League mein VAR decision calls have been the most controversial ones.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, this is what it is. Now, Sammy, quickly rounding off this segment, I just went onto the website to check what are the rules related to the sin bins, and
Hmm.
I find that they say the two blue cards would result in a player's dismissal for the rest of the match, as would a blue and a yellow. And now the referees will have the power to send off players for 10 minutes for dissent or any sort of cynical fouls. But these sin bin trials will not be happening at the apex level of all games. They'll be just be having holding trials in the lower
Trials.
leagues.
Sort of,
Yeah.
I have a question. Sorry, I have a question.
Hmm. Hmm.
Everything is fine. Okay, you are
Hmm.
trying
Hmm.
all of this out. Player डिसेंट दिखाएगा तो निकाल देंगे, ये करेंगे, वो करेंगे.
Correct. Correct.
रेफरी गलत डिसीजन देगा तो उसके लिए हम कुछ क्यों नहीं कर? उसको भी दिखाओ साला कार्ड.
अरे उसको
ये तो
इसीलिए
बट
तो
गलत है
wait,
ना.
the thing is, yeah, have you not seen the ultras at the Italian stadiums? Have you seen
Yeah,
those
but
set of
my
fans
point is that
going nuts?
it's not really affecting the referee's life directly at
Hmm.
that point of time. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
For
Hmm.
me, it
Hmm.
is like, yeah, you why is a player showing dissent? Because at some level he feels
Correct.
that you fucked up the decision. Correct.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
If the player is right that you have fucked up the decision, he or she has every right to show dissent, according to me,
Yeah.
because you have
For
fucked
sure.
up.
For sure.
If the
And let
decision
me
is
let me
right,
go talk to IFAB. Let me go talk to them.
I think you should email them once. I think you
I,
should
I,
totally
I'll, I,
email them.
in fact, you know what? Let me just go quickly and grab a coffee and just fly to UK and sort this out
Okay,
till
do
the
that,
next
man.
episode when we come back, and
ओल्ड ट्रैफर्ड
I'll
तक तो
have
तू
like
जा नहीं पा रहा है मेरे साथ. लास्ट 10 साल से प्लान कर रहे हैं हम. ठीक है, इसको कॉफी लेके यूके जाके अपना एक ब्लू कार्ड सेटल करना है. हाँ भाई, हाँ, मैं डेटॉल पी के मर सकता हूँ. मैंने सब देख लिया है अभी. समझा.
right, guys. So this is all that we had for this little small episode. Sammy, any concluding thoughts? Anything you'd like to share with our followers?
Yes, generally we end the episode with whatever's coming up, but today we're not going to do
Yeah.
that. I think what we're going to do is we're going to just make a small segment out of that between today
Mm.
and tomorrow, and push that out with
Mm.
all the games coming up this week. I think we are on Tuesday, so we have about a couple of days before the weekend
Yeah.
hits.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
we're going to do that, and yeah, I think it was. I think today, genuinely, sort of. I'm not saying this
Mm.
because this is our
Mm.
podcast, but today I really had a lot of fun,
Fun, huh?
discussing
Me
this.
too. Me
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah. Because I think yeah, these are just angles that no one's talking about, bro.
Yeah, no one's doing
So
it. No one's
huh,
doing it. It's just us.
pro-
Everyone's got an agenda. Everyone's got like sponsors backing them. So you can't
exactly.
talk this, you can't do that. But in here, we put our own money in, we put our own energy and everything in. So we this is, I mean, in genuinely speaking about Sammy, this I feel it's a good escape for me as well from
Hmm.
a very boring, monotonous life to doing something like this, collaborating just for surely for the passion of the sport. This is amazing, and I hope to keep doing this forward. So, really looking forward to the next episode.
Definitely. And in the meantime, guys, you should check out our Instagram page as well. It's called at the rate TDBS Podcast. The dead ball specialist, essentially, shortened down. Also, you can follow me across social media. I'm everywhere, omnipresent. Like I say, I'm like God. Okay. My handle is at the rate RJSammy07. And this sexy man with the new sexy glasses, he's got his own handle on Instagram and X
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
Wazar
Yeah.
2188.
At the rate was at 2188 people. Go and follow him as well. But yes, do check out the Dead Ball Specialist Instagram. We've started putting some content over there, which essentially are snippets from here. And we'd love to hear back from you in the comment section over there and on YouTube over here as well. This is Saurav and Sammy peacing out, people. Hope to see you very soon. And yes, Game Week review will be coming up. Cheers. Bye.